Hi, I'm Jasmine, and you're watching my channel, The Curious White Coat. I'm a new doctor in my first year of neurology residency, and I started this channel a year ago because I wanted to share my journey and help other future doctors. As a pre-medicine student, you're going to hear so much about what things you should be looking for in a medical school, from a place that has high board exam pass rates to a place that offers you a variety of clinical experiences. But what exactly does all of that mean? In this video, I'm going to be explaining some different things that you should be looking for in a medical school and also telling you why. Medical school is a critical foundation for you and your career. You want to choose a place that is going to help you reach the goals that you have for yourself and support you well. You don't want to get to the end of your medical school experience and realize that you have regrets about choosing that school in the first place. Before you start creating your list of medical schools to apply to, take some time for self-reflection. Think about the things that are important to you. You want to choose schools that align with your own personal mission and values. At the end of the day, one of the most important things about choosing a medical school is that you choose places that you will be happy to be at. One of the things that you're going to be looking at first is the quality of education that a medical school is offering you. And that roughly boils down to what are you going to be learning, how are you going to be learning it, who's going to be teaching it to you, and what resources are available to help you learn. The what that you're going to be learning needs to be relevant to your profession and give value to you as you become a future doctor. One of the quick and easy ways to see if a school is capable of meeting those basic requirements is to check their accreditation status. A bunch of people from a couple of different organizations all got together and set some guidelines for what those basic requirements are that a medical school needs to meet in order to create graduates that are competently trained and ready to enter residency as a doctor. So I'm going to leave a link to those different accrediting bodies in the description box below, and you can go in there and you can see lists of different accredited medical schools, and those are updated by those different organizations regularly. Don't apply to a program if you haven't checked their accreditation status. You need to look at that first, and also see if a place has struggled to keep their accreditation in the past. There are a lot of different standards or areas that programs can get warnings or probation for being deficient in. So it would really be helpful to understand why a program is having trouble and if they've made some efforts to change that. I would hate for you to get to the end of your 4 years of medical school and then realize that your program has lost its accreditation and now your degree is not worth anything. When it comes to how you're going to be learning, I want you to think about the learning environment. At this point, you've been through plenty of school, so you know which environments you thrive in and which ones stifle you. You've had plenty of experience with different learning strategies, so you know which ones work well and which ones don't work as well. Ask people, like, how do you teach your students? Is it going to be a lecture hall where you have PowerPoint at the front of the room and someone's standing there and they're talking at you for hours on end? Or is there some variety, where there are lecture styles, but there's also the case-based discussion or small group settings or like one-on-one learning? I also want to emphasize the importance of early hands-on clinical experience. This was something that I thought my medical school did well because in our very first year, we had a preceptorship. When you start early on thinking like a doctor and being put in that setting, you have clinical application that you can kind of take with you. And I think that helps with retaining knowledge and also knowing what things are important, and that helps guide your studying. Ideally, you're going to be taught by people from a variety of different fields and not just like only medical doctors. You should be looking at the faculty and see, like, are there PhDs alongside us MDs and DOs? Like, medicine is rooted in science, so you don't want to miss out on that perspective. But you also need to make sure that there's a good balance because you'll need the clinical application as well. Also look and see who is teaching what courses. You wouldn't go to an OB-GYN for specialty care of your heart arrhythmia, and you also definitely wouldn't go to a cardiologist for labor and delivery. at least not intentionally. So look and see, like, are the people who are teaching that course, experts in that field? And that's not to say that doctors from different specialties don't know anything else about that other specialty, because we all went through training. But you do want to make sure that you are being taught by people who kind of like live and breathe, eat and sleep this one particular field, because then you're really getting a good, like, detailed look from somebody who does it every day. Everyone probably looks at the board exam pass rates for every medical school that they apply to and uses that as some sort of criterion for whether or not to apply there. And I think that you should look at the board scores, but don't just stop at that point on the website where it says what the average pass rate was and call it a day. Dive deeper and figure out how it is that they are getting their students to that point of success. Are they giving their students a dedicated study period for their step 1 and step 2 exams? And by dedicated, I mean there are no other clinical duties that you have to attend to. You don't have any other courses to study for, no exams to complete for anything else other than your board exams. At the bare minimum, a school should be giving you access to an online library, like how schools pay for their own subscription, so that you can get access to textbooks that your professors are asking you to read, rather than having to pay hundreds of dollars out of pocket. And when you go into this dedicated study period, are they giving you a free or discounted version of some quality study resources like the NBME practice test or UWorld? Instead of asking, what's the board exam pass rate? Be open, ask open-ended questions, and ask them, how do you prepare your students for success on their board exams? Do they have tutoring services or learning specialists available to students? How do they deal with students that are having academic difficulties? Are students assigned to academic advisors? And how are these academic advisors assigned? Your academic advisor can be someone that becomes a mentor to you, especially if they are in the same specialty that you're going to be applying to. And that can really become a great resource for you when you're trying to map out your future. It's not just about the residency match rate, but it's also about where people go for residency. So when you're doing your dive into different schools, look at where people are going, especially if you have a good idea of where you want to end up for residency. The reason I say this is because sometimes who you know is helpful. Your alumni can go to bat for you if you're applying in the same specialty or residency program that they are at. And medical students are actually encouraged to reach out to their alumni and ask about their residency experience and consider applying to the same places their alumni got into. So you'll realize this when you get to the point of applying for residency, but I'm just going to tell you now so that you know beforehand and you're prepared. Who you know can be helpful. But that's not to say that if you're going to a place that doesn't have anyone who matches into the program that you want to go to, that you just shouldn't apply there. I'll give myself as an example. I went to a Florida medical school, and a lot of the people at that medical school matched to different places within Florida, but that didn't stop me from getting interviews at different places across the country. Do be prepared for people to ask you questions like, what are your ties to Wyoming? Why do you want to go to the Northeast? Have you ever been to California? Like, these are things programs might ask you, because sometimes they use location to gauge your interest. Like, if you have family in a certain area, maybe you might be more inclined to move back to that area to be near family. And they can kind of see that as, oh, how highly will this person rank us? That's not necessarily true for every place, but it does happen. Medical schools need to recognize the importance of diversity because medicine has a history and a current reputation for not being diverse. Look and see if a school has a functioning DEI committee. And, okay, I'm just going to say it. Were those DEI efforts started before 2020? Okay, I'm just going to leave that there. Medical schools that pride themselves on diversity need to show that through tangible efforts. Look at who is represented in their faculty and staff and student demographics. Are they engaging their communities? Like, into what level? What differences have they made in their communities based off of their different community initiatives? What do their faculty hiring practices look like? I think it's important too that curriculum addresses the social determinants of health and bias. This will help you with becoming a well-rounded doctor. I'm grateful for the emphasis that my school actually placed on this throughout our 4 years. It wasn't just like a quick course and you're done, but it's something that we were always learning about and always getting an education on. And I think that really shaped what I was looking for when I was applying to residency programs. People might tell you to look at the cost of schools and that's all you should look at. But I really think rather than just worrying about the money, you should look at how financial aid is handled. And I say this because pretty much everyone is going to be in some sort of student loan debt when they come out of medical school, unless you got about $300,000 just lying around ready to pay off your tuition with, your tuition and the cost of attendance. So when I say like how they handle financial aid, what I mean is, do you have this robust financial aid department that organizes check-ins with individual students, hosts class meetings, gives you important updates, connects you to scholarships, make sure that you're completing your FAFSA, like all of these different things? Are they preparing you so that you can be financially responsible? Do they give you strategies for borrowing responsibly or connect you to different resources that would help you? That is going to go a much longer way than just what is the price of the school. Everyone is talking about wellness, and I think that's really important to look into for school, because medical school is hard and you are judged on your performance, and sometimes that can be very stressful or anxiety provoking. And you want to look at what does wellness look like in that sort of setting. Wellness is more than just yoga. Don't get me wrong, when like medical school hosts fun activities, like that is a great opportunity for you to bond with your peers and to think about something other than work, study, which can be very nice. But it's also important that the wellness committee operates in a capacity of more than just planning fun activities. Like, do they talk to the administration, and does the administration take feedback and try to change things maybe in their curriculum or in the way that they run things to enhance student wellness? One of the things that is important is to be able to have time for the things that are important to you. And this can be through how often you're having exams or needing to study. This can come in the form of flex days where you get time off to go to the doctor or be in your sister's wedding or go to therapy sessions. And this might seem simplistic, but think about this. Are the people kind to you? It makes a world of a difference when you're in an environment where you are well supported, and there should be no room for toxicity or malignancy in a medical school. Another key feature of wellness is having free therapy sessions for medical students. My school had a quite well-established wellness program that students were able to utilize for all 4 years. One thing to think of is how easy is it for students to take time off? Like, say if there's a family emergency and you may need to take several months at a time, do they hold your spot for you and allow you to finish up your medical school education? At the end of the day, there are a lot of different things that you can look for in a medical school, but make sure that you're choosing things that are important to you and you understand why you're looking for those things. Don't just choose a place because of the name or the price, but choose a place because that's where you will be happy. That is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Put your questions for me down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.